This is inside my Com-Pac 23. This is up underneath the companionway steps there and back up under the bridge deck and all up here. And there's actually more room here than you might think. That's as much room as a lot of 27, 28 foot boats have for the motor, for the engine location. And these side panels come off where you can access this whole area all the way across, and all the way back. That whole panel comes out on both sides. So it's actually fairly easy to access things in regards to an inboard engine on this boat for installing the engine. Now, once it's put back together, depends on the engine. This Volvo Penta engine, most of the things that you need to access on a regular basis are on the very front of the engine, so it's actually pretty easy. And then you can put in an access hatch on either side so that you can remove just an access hatch on the sides rather than moving the whole panel, and that makes it fairly easy to get to the gearbox, transmission, reverse gear, for checking fluids and changing fluids and that kind of thing. But I'm going to try to superimpose an image of this engine in here to scale as best I can and just kind of give you an idea of what it might look like with the engine in there. Now, you do need to cut out part of the floor panel right here because this overhangs the bilge there by about 9 or 10 inches right here. And you can either cut out a U shape here, or I prefer to cut it all the way across. You have to be really careful so that you don't cut into the fiberglass. But I prefer to cut it all the way across so that in the future, if you replace this floor panel here, this teak and holly floor panel, you don't have to fight it trying to get it out from underneath the engine. It's just easier just to go ahead and cut the trim and cut that panel back more or less flush with the front side of the, where the bilge goes straight down there. And then you've got much easier time if you ever want to change this here floor panel. And then you've just got no wood hanging under the engine. It's just, the bilge. And that's the way I prefer to do it. I have seen boats with it just cut out in like a U panel, right, a U shape right there to clear the oil pan. And that works. It's just not how I prefer to do it in this boat, at least. Anyway, I'm going to try to superimpose what it would look like with the engine in here. We'll see how it works out. Here I just used the LIDAR app on my iPhone to generate a 3D image of the engine to scale, and then also the area where I would be putting the engine in. It won't be perfect, but just trying to get it close where you can kind of get an idea, pretty close to scale, what the engine will look like in there. And also for me, just to make sure that I'm gonna have clearance overhead and that kind of thing. In reality, the engine would be 3 inches or so lower than it is in this video, on this image. Like I say, whenever that floor panel or the cabin sole gets cut out, the engine actually drops down lower than that. The oil pan drops down underneath the cabin sole, so it would be lower than in this image.